Think of the most deeply rooted resident in your neighborhood. They know the history of the streets, they own the heavy tools in the garage, and they have the time to help. But they do not own a smartphone. When civic coordination, like organizing a local park cleanup, moves exclusively to a digital app, that person simply vanishes from the roster. The community loses their expertise, and they lose their connection to local action. Usually, a well-meaning neighbor tries to fix this by creating a fake email address and a phantom profile for the offline resident, guessing passwords and clicking "I agree" on their behalf. This is the shadow proxy. That approach strips the offline citizen of their digital consent. Their personal data floats in an administrative gray area, entirely controlled by someone else without a clear audit trail, removing their true agency over their own civic life. The engineers behind the civic platform 7 Hills drew a hard line to solve this. They refused to force human relationships to conform to smartphone ownership. They built the Arthur Protocol. It is a governed inclusion engine that uses a verified neighbor as a human bridge, connecting the offline resident directly to the digital database without giving them a device. High-end inclusive design involves engineering secure borders so an offline user can participate with total protection. Inside the platform, this human bridge is called a companion. A companion is a verified neighbor who acts strictly as a digital scribe. They do not own the account, and they are not a legal guardian. To authorize this scribe, the system relies on a physical object. This schematic shows the architecture of the support code, a printed, opaque QR code held by the offline neighbor, kept structurally separate from any personal data stored in the cloud. The code itself contains 0 identifiable information. When scanned, it acts purely as a temporary session key. It opens a brief, secure connection to the database without transferring ownership of the profile to the scanner. Because the code is physical, the companion must be in the same room to scan it. This forces a face-to-face, companion-attested consent, creating a localized check against remote shadow proxies acting without permission. The moment that scan registers, the companion's screen changes. The app enters steel gray mode, locking out normal features and displaying a thick gray border around the prompt, "What does Arthur want to say?" This visual override acts as a structural reminder to the companion that they are transcribing, not speaking for themselves. The system categorizes these entries as ascribed participation intent. This tells the organizers exactly how they will contribute, whether that's bringing tools or helping with logistics. This visual ledger illustrates exactly how the database handles that intent. Every single scribed action is permanently stamped with 2 distinct signatures: the offline user's contribution classification and the specific companion's ID holding the liability for that entry. Once submitted, that record is locked. A companion cannot silently overwrite or delete the entry later. Any corrections are added chronologically as fresh updates. Engineering an undeletable dual-signature audit trail is the only way to guarantee an offline user's agency remains permanently protected and verifiable. But human relationships change. What happens to the offline user's digital history if their companion moves away or stops using the app? The system triggers a companion succession protocol. A high-trust community member steps in to review the situation, ensuring a safe and consensual transition to a new neighbor. Looking at this relationship graph, the new companion scans the original physical support code. The central offline node detaches from the inactive user and securely relinks to the new one. All of the offline user's past contributions remain perfectly intact. This architectural resilience ensures the platform serves the offline user indefinitely, preventing the threat of digital orphaning. In the real world, this means our offline neighbor shows up to the park cleanup. The crew is expecting them, their tools are accounted for, and their contribution is recognized, all without them ever having to touch a screen. The standard technology model insists that people must adapt their habits to accommodate software. The 7 Hills architecture insists the software must adapt to the physical reality of the neighborhood. Technology is at its most effective when it coordinates our relationships rather than attempting to contain them, proving that digital exclusion requires a human-first solution, secured by engineering.